I'm
Yeah.
a freaking rock star. My brother and I never fought. And we actually had this huge blow up. And it was me just being like, I just need you to thank me. I am doing so much. And the problem was, he didn't even know what I was doing. Unqualified, unsolicited, and totally honest opinions on midlife. Well, today, Brian,
Yes,
we
Barbara.
will be talking about siblings and family dynamics with our aging parents.
Okay.
Okay.
Talking about siblings and family dynamics with aging parents in the mix
Well,
or
family
running the gut.
dynamics in our midlife because of our aging parents. We're going to have a lot of challenges possibly with our siblings.
Oh, God. I
What?
was thinking kids.
No. Okay. No. Yeah. With aging parents,
Right.
we
Got it.
as
How to
adult
man.
children,
Yes.
yes.
Holy
Wow.
guacamole.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes people, it takes a minute.
yeah,
I'm like
that's,
a
yeah.
slow train.
I feel like I should do a little opener at the beginning to like go, hey, this is what it's about.
Hey, this
Yeah.
dodo bird knows nothing
No,
about what
but
we're
I should
talking
do it like
about.
a
So
little,
sometimes it takes him a second
yeah,
to get
we're
going.
learning, people, we're learning. But this is a thing. Okay. Both of us
Yeah.
have been going through the
Sure.
like the default daughter syndrome, which is where the daughter is usually the one who helps out more with the aging parents
Okay.
because that's our role.
Okay.
And then also the like you're reverting back to your childhood roles as siblings
Within the, yeah,
within
yeah,
your
within your
family
family
unit,
structure.
right? Right.
Got it.
So, I mean,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
So, how do you feel like this is playing out for you? Because you don't live, your parents are in Missouri, and your awesome sister
Yeah,
is the one who
she fronts the load.
she does because she's there, and
Yeah.
she's the default daughter. And so it's weird that we are both on both sides of the
You
spectrum
mean
here.
default? She's the only daughter. Is that what you mean?
Default is
Yeah.
just like the default person is the daughter. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Because daughters usually take care of their it's like
Sure.
very maternal.
Yeah.
We are usually the person.
Well, she was the favorite child, so
Oh,
there's that.
okay, so there's no
Yeah.
issues here.
Not kidding. Yeah, no, it does. And so there'll be times where she'll call me up and she'll like just want to vent, and then she'll apologize, and I'm like, "Yo, Maggie, like you handle all of this, and you have a much harder load than that." I'm like, "If I can be a sympathetic ear, I will do it anytime. You are not bothering me, because I know it's hard. I know with what you have to do with your mom here, and I, don't bear as much of a load at all in that either. I know it's a lot, and it looks like I'm a deadbeat. So there's that.
No, but there's only so much you can do from
Yeah,
far away,
yeah,
and I do think that you saying like being her cheerleader and
yeah.
supporting her and holding space for her when she needs vent because there is a lot of
It's a
like
lot.
pressure
It's
and
a
a
lot.
lot, so she does need a safe space to vent.
Well, as awesome as my parents are, there's moments where they're not, like, because we're all human, right?
Right.
And so, like, and she gets like we just went through like a financial thing with my mom, and my sister took some good jabs with that, and it hurts and it sucks, and she's only trying to help, and my mom's not at the capacity to be able to manage that anymore. And so all my sister wants to do is help and make it easier, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of resistance there, and then my sister gets a lot of crap. So it's hard. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think no matter who's listening, if you are the person that's caregiving or if your sibling is taking it on, you're going to find it in one of us. And I think awesome that you are there for her and asking I've heard you ask, and I've even asked for her as her sister-in-law, like, let us know if there's anything we can do to help. How
Yeah.
can I support you? And thank you so much for doing this. I think as a caregiver, because I am one for my mom, that is all I need. That is all I need. And because I'm like, hey, I'm the most suited for the job at hand.
Right.
And it makes sense for, she lives in her house. I've taken over everything, but that's what I've needed. And so I know to give that. And I can just hear the relief in Maggie when we offer stuff and that she doesn't feel alone. She feels supported, even though we're not physically there,
Right.
but she doesn't feel alone or that we've completely been like, you got this? Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
peace out.
Yeah,
Well,
because
I
that
think
sucks.
we preach a lot of gratitude, and I think gratitude and appreciation can go a long ways.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I recognize you're in a crappy situation. Thank you, because you're
Yeah.
doing it for the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's a lot of bandwidth for the caregiver.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
lot of time,
Oh yeah.
energy, bandwidth, time away from their family.
Oh, she'll call me and she'll apologize to me that she hasn't seen, our parents in like a day or two. And I'm like, Maggie, like you have a life.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. They have a life too, like you're doing great. That you just like give yourself grace. I think grace is a good one for all the
Yeah.
caretakers because in the sandwich generation, the people like us, there's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot. You got kids. The kids are demanding. They're
Right.
awesome, but they're demanding. And then aging parents, if you're really caring for them, that is super demanding, and that's hard. And you're not gonna nail it all every day of the week. Like
No.
there's gonna be ups and downs, and
Yeah.
and just know your parents were in that shoes at some point in time too.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
And just knowing that the token caregiver of your family is doing the best they can
yeah,
and to just be grateful for it and offer any help or just the gratitude as much as you can. That is the biggest. I was interviewed by this awesome guy who owns a wealth management company, and he was asking me all these questions, and he's asking, and then he didn't realize what was coming up for him. And he was like, oh my gosh, I feel bad. My sister's doing all this because he's just tiptoeing into the subject. And I gave that advice to him. I was like, hey, just appreciate her, tell her how appreciative you are.
yeah,
And then he goes, I just feel so bad because I don't live by my parents. And I want to call, but then I don't because I don't want to get in a lengthy conversation or something like that. And I go, you know what my new favorite thing is the audio text. And
mm,
it's on, I didn't know
yeah,
how to do it, but
yeah, yeah,
on your phone, and you hit the plus sign, you go to audio, and then it's not audio to text, it's audio
yeah,
that sends as a text. So
yeah.
it, like,
The other speech dictation,
yes, and I don't like speech dictation. I like when I can come
right,
across.
right,
And so I said to him, I go, it's a one way of you being able to send love and attention to your parents. And and then they get your voice. That's all they care about. And then he was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this right now. And I go, even do it to your sister and be like, hey, I just did this interview and I just realized how much I appreciate you. Like just those little
yeah.
things
That
will make,
lands.
and it's just
That
like
lands.
it takes you 2 minutes. They get the loved on, they get appreciated, they get the connection. It's the easiest thing to do. Good job, Apple, for
Good
doing
one.
that. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, good
great
one.
tip.
My brother we were just talking,
Yeah,
and so he gave a little piece of advice. So he's the main communicator with my mom. Like they've had a connection, they talk all
they're
the
the
time, right?
closest. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was probably a little bit closer to my dad. That's kind of the way the alignment always
Yeah.
kind of works out. And he now is calling her more because my dad's cognitive issues, and he's just, trying, and he's also from afar too. He's not
Yeah.
there. And he goes, I set some ground rules with mom. I said, hey, I'm going to call you more often, but not every call is going to be a 30-minute we're chit chatting. And he goes, some will just be, I'm just going to call to say hi, check
Yeah.
in, and it's going to be 3 minutes. And that's all it is. And so he'll call and be like, hey, mom, I'm calling and just saying hi. Just want to make sure you're doing okay. And basically similar to your voice text, but he defines right off the top how long this is going to be, and then expectations
Yeah.
aren't, the expectations are set and no one's feelings are hurt, and it's not like he's getting off the phone
Yeah.
too fast.
Love that.
And I was like, wow, that was really smart, so kudos to him.
Huge kudos. I'm like,
Yeah,
kudos. I was still like, totally kudos. But
yeah, I like
yes,
kudos.
kudos to him. And setting boundaries is a big thing too. So
Another life
boundaries
lesson.
with your siblings, boundaries
Everything.
with your parents,
Yeah,
and like how much you can handle and how much you can do. And just be like Maggie, if she's feeling bad about not seeing them so much, be realistic with her time and energy and be like, I'm going to see you every Wednesday, or I'm going to try and see you every Wednesday. Or I'm going to try and see you once a week, and this is the time that works for me. I work. This is when it
yeah,
works best for me, or it works best for me if you come to my house, whatever it is. It's like really aligning with what will truly work for you, and that you're still getting that time and energy and connection with them. And also with the siblings, of setting boundaries of what you're okay with, because my scenario is different because my mom lives with us. And so, and my brother, I'm the token daughter. My brother's 9 years older and he has remarried. Just gonna leave it. Yeah. Anyway, he's remarried, which changed a lot of dynamics in our family. And so our dynamics, we're not reverting to like childhood dynamics. It is totally rocked and different. And he is just pretty much non-existent. And when my mom, we moved my mom into the retirement home, and you and I were integral in that and moving her out of her house. And I
Sure.
was seeing how he was just, I feel like with any sort of like need, or he just kind of gets overwhelmed and he kind of disappears.
Well,
And I love him,
and,
but
and and not in defense or whatever, just as an observation.
yeah.
It is really hard to see your parents
Oh,
in this
totally.
state.
Totally.
So, like, not to say that he's right, but
It is, and I get
a
it, and
little bit
he's
of
not.
hiding or running
Yeah.
away from
So,
is,
and I love him, and I share this only if someone can relate to my situation or my brother's. That's why I share it,
yeah,
and I'm not making him wrong for it. It's been a huge challenge between us. I've gone through like the stages and stuff, but he's chosen to not be involved, and like he sees her maybe once a month for an hour for lunch. They go to lunch, and he has for years. And so when she lived in the retirement home and I decided, because I was the main caregiver, and even in the retirement home, I was still very involved. And that's when we were realizing she had cognitive challenges and then was diagnosed as Alzheimer's. I was like, you know what? For me, it'd be easier if she lived closer to me, and then
she just needed more
she needed more
attention,
attention
but
and
not a
more.
full time nurse. So it was
Yes.
like,
And then
yeah,
I just decided, and you and I looked into moving her closer here for retirement homes. And then that's when you came up with, you know what, we have this crazy, amazing layout where it's a downstairs master. She could live there and we could try that out and see how that works for our family. And then if it doesn't, then we're on a waiting list at a retirement home here. But where she was currently, she didn't, my brother's an hour and a half away. And then it was just really hard for me to get to her. So my boundary was like, hey, this is going to be easier. And she's not even utilizing the retirement home for what it was wonderful for her. It's
yeah,
the social. She's not even utilizing that. She was really just sleeping a lot. It was really concerning for me. And it was harder on me to go see her as much as I felt like she needed to. And in a lot of ways, it was easier to move her in. But he was fighting me on that, going, because turned out his wife was concerned about their need and how much they would be needed if I moved her in with us. And his wife was like, well, I don't want to have any responsibility in this. And so it was like really communicating with him and being also like, you don't have as big of a seat at the table. I'm the one who's the caregiver. If I think it's best for her to move in and it's saving her money and I'm being able to help her more, then that's what we're going to do. And it was like
yeah.
really learning, especially me with an older brother, he's almost a decade older than me, learning to like shift roles with him and set my own boundaries of like, this is what I'm okay with, this is what I'm not okay with. And your full seat at the table when you're only seeing her if once a month for an hour, you don't even know the full picture or her full needs. You have not gone to doctor's appointments. I
Sure.
will be making the
I
decisions.
think you do have to fall into some sort of an alignment. Like that worked with like me and my brother just not being around had to yield, not had to yield. I mean, we're super grateful for our sister taking over so much, but it's
Right.
like she's the boss. And
Yeah.
so we fall into line.
Yeah.
And so like what she says, she's got it. She
Yeah.
knows she's there. Like you said, if you're there in the day to day, we have to trust her judgment.
Right.
And we welcomely do because she's
Yeah.
awesome and she's doing a great job at it. And yeah, for him, I think at first, he didn't want to, but then he has because he's decided that he's not going to be involved. And
What do you
so
mean
then
he didn't want to what?
I think at first your brother kind of fought you as you were like shifting the power of attorney and you're taking more over. He kind of fought you on things until he finally realized that he had to let go because he didn't want to be any part
Right,
of
because he
it.
wasn't even aware of the care that was needed.
He was, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
still unaware, but,
Well,
anyway.
I think just it's got to be hard.
Oh, it is so hard.
There's probably
So
there's
hard.
probably some guilt in there. Like I
Yeah,
feel guilty that I'm not even taking care of my parents, but I try. You know what I mean?
right.
Like there's
Yeah,
definitely that association that like, oh, my sister carries a brunt of the load and we don't.
right.
And that's like, oh, that's I feel bad for her. Like,
Yes. Yeah,
so I think he struggled with a little bit of that. I think Just me speculating and just from my own situation. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
It
It's
is
not an easy ride, and
it's
it's
not
not.
an easy ride,
Yeah,
and I think to save relationships with your siblings is setting those boundaries and having communication,
yeah,
and like communication where like we talked about before of having who's in charge of the power of attorney financially, who's in charge of the medical, if it's the medical directive or the power of attorney
yeah.
for medical, and it does not have to be the same person. So if there's multiple siblings that live in the same area, if you're like, hey, I feel more aligned to do this. I see my mom more often or my parents more often. And you decide who that is. And you say with the siblings what you're capable of doing and who kind of more strengths in other parts.
Sure.
And so, really communicating between the siblings,
That's key, and I
that
think
is key.
yeah, because you got to fall into some sort of
Right.
operational,
Yeah. And
level.
do you have aging parents and you're still raising your kids? Then welcome to the sandwich generation. It can be super overwhelming, but I've got you. I wrote an ebook that helps you save time, energy, and money. And you can get your copy on thesandwichgen.com/ebook, and it will help you with all the things you need. In my situation, because my brother's situation changed so much of being all of a sudden
With his new marriage, you
with
mean?
his new
Yeah.
marriage, it was just like, oh, wait. Oh, okay. You're not involved at all. It's just more like realizing that and then going, okay, well, I've got this. And okay, well, then I'm going to make the decisions and I don't want to fight you on this. And then so I got my cousin involved who is very close to my mom and sees her every 2 weeks because I didn't want to make some decisions. It's a lot and overwhelming on one person. So I got another family member involved that I
Sounding
was
board.
like a sounding board.
Sure.
And was like, you see my mom more often. And also, she went through this with her parents. She's older. She's my cousin, but she's 20 years older than me. And so I was like, you're a great person to talk to. You have my mom's best interest. And so it just really helped for me to have another person. And I think that's huge for caretakers to at least have one person that they're like, you get this, you see where I'm coming from. Is this, if you're ever wondering on decisions, and I did because my brother was putting up so much of a fight to not move my mom out of the retirement home. And I was like, do you think I'm not going to do a good job with her?
Yeah.
He had a lot going on with that. And so I talked to her and she brought up some awesome things to consider. And then she also was like, actually, I think this would be really good. And then because we did it as a trial run, she's like, your mom is thriving. And
Yeah.
it's nice to have an outside
Yeah.
perspective. It's just amazing in any aspect of your life to have that 40-foot view when you're in something to see like the other
Well, and I
ways of
think
doing
I
things.
think that's a great note for siblings that aren't in the day-to-day or
Yeah.
full-time care is to just be there to like listen, you know? And you can't always if you're not gonna be there day to day, I can't call up my sister in any, right mind and be like, you gotta do this, 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 and this. That's not right. I
Yeah.
gotta be there to be like, what do you need? How can I support you? How can I, help in
Right.
any way? And a lot of that's just listening, maybe,
Yeah.
and just because it's not an easy process for anybody. And those that are, on the front lines, like, yo, that's super hard. It's really hard.
Well, and I love that you brought that up because I think just let if you're like you and not the main caregiver and asking, just let me know if you need some help.
Yeah,
The person that is the caregiver needs to be aware of what someone else can do because you don't have to do it all if you don't want to. They can set up the medication management. They could set up like a online pharmacy that sends it. There's so many things that someone actually could do. So if the caregiver or the main person that's the point person for the aging parents can just like write down everything that's on your plate about your aging parents, like the medication, the doctor's appointments, the like, if you have groceries sent to them, if you're doing all these things, just writing all those down and someone could take on a task of
sure.
setting something up, especially at first. And or you're
Well,
moving your parent into a retirement home. The move was so much time, energy
oh yeah,
for us.
it's a lot.
But if someone could be like, okay, order these things from Target or Amazon that because it's like moving a college kid in, it's like you need all things like the shower caddy and all these things that you wouldn't have thought you needed.
Yeah,
But like, hey, you do the research on this and then let me know what you got. Like, definitely be aware if someone does offer their help or ask for their help of what can be taken off your plate,
sure.
even if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't live there, there's tons they can do.
Yeah, yeah, communication's key there. They gotta be able to be willing to delegate it,
Yeah.
and so that helps. It's hard. Yeah, it's a unique situation that we're all
Well,
landing in.
and everyone's situation is unique of their family dynamics, of their siblings, if they have siblings, where they're located. So it's just good to think of who's going to be those people, how to support them, how to be supported, and how to communicate and
Mm.
set expectations and set roles so there isn't like these frustrations.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be there.
It
It's
is.
just gonna be there. It's a fact of life,
And you
but it's
do have those aspects of maybe new partners or partners that aren't as supportive or partners that are resentful or whatever it
there's all
is.
sorts of kinks.
There's a lot of kinks, and just knowing that this is just part of it. And as we said it before, but as much as you can get ahead of it before it gets awkward, before you're in it, it's easier to have the plan before you're in it. But and it can change. It can
Well,
totally
I
change.
think just like any plan, when you're forced to make a plan, you're making it in haste and it's a little bit more difficult because the stresses of the situation are on you.
Yeah.
So anytime you can slowly start that conversation and start doling out roles and then responsibilities as we're moving into something, you just have more time and there's a little bit more ease with the transition.
Right.
So I mean, that's it. But then again, just like a good old term paper, no one wants to deal with it until they have to. And so
For all of
I
us
get it.
procrastinators.
No, but it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's
Yeah,
perfectly human
it
because this
is.
is this is this is one of the biggest sort of emotional roller coasters,
Yeah.
and so it's not a fun ride and you don't necessarily want to get on it. And when you're on it, you got to grin and bear it. And so it just makes it difficult at
Yeah.
times.
And I have a friend, a dear friend, who she and her other two siblings live in town. And her parents are really showing that they're needing a lot more care now. And her brother has a big job and she and her sister don't have as much of a, like a day-to-day responsibility, but they still have a lot going on. They have
Yeah.
kids and they have all this stuff. And I can tell when she's doing, she is like there for parents need her, and and her dad has had surgeries and she's been there, and it's like she's giving a lot of time. And I'm like, hey, you gotta just watch it, like ask for help.
Yeah.
You're doing too much. You're gonna burn out. You've got to be clear with the others of being like, hey, I might be the best on-site person, but like I shouldn't be getting the medication. Will someone else handle this? Or will someone else handle the dog issue? Or will someone else, because there's so many components, but and also her family was suffering. They're like, we haven't seen you in days. And she was being a rock star with her parents, but like, you
Yeah,
got
that's the whole
all this
sandwich
stuff
thing.
going
That's the
on.
sandwich
Yes.
thing. So
Yeah.
communicate, delegate, be
Yeah.
there to listen. And
Yeah, and also get other care involved too. When you have stuff like that, there is so much out there. Insurance will cover people. Look into what Medicare will cover, or look into if your parents are Medicaid, what they will cover. And then, there we have lucked out. And my saving grace has been our Sally, who is
yeah,
my mom's companion. And because we didn't need a nurse, because my mom doesn't need per se nursing care, but I needed someone because I was my mom's everything for a year and I felt myself drowning. I felt like our family unit was hurting. And I was
yeah,
like, our kids were getting a little resentful because they're like, you're always doing what Mimi needs. And I was like, okay, yeah, I need more bandwidth. And so Sally, we found because I put it out there and I just said, hey, I'm nervous. My mom's moving in and I have no one. We're gone on Saturdays. And someone was like, my aunt does this. My aunt's an adult sitter. And I was like, that I
yeah.
didn't even
She's the
know that
best.
was,
She's
yeah.
great.
So in your community, in churches, just put it Facebook page. Like if you're needing help with your parent in any capacity, just like list 5 things you're looking for that you need help with, even if it's running them on errands. And you save it for the important things, because that's what I felt like was happening with my mom too, is that even when I visited her in the retirement home, I'm like, I am doing your laundry, I am vacuuming, I am, even though she had a cleaner, it was like her cats anyway,
Yeah,
that I was busy doing all the things she couldn't handle anymore of these chores and tasks, that I wasn't even getting the good times with her. I was just like, sit there, I'm going to do this. And then it was like my window of time away from my family and when I was needed back was just spent doing instead of like being with her. And so Sally has provided that for me, that I get to have my moments back with my mom and the
yeah,
quality time back with my mom. We get to actually just go to lunch now. My mom and I, instead of like, I got to go here, I got to go here, we got to get you here. So it's just been really life-giving for both my mom and me and our relationship. So I really encourage the caregivers to get help when you can, and you don't have to pay these exorbitant costs if your parents not needing that nursing care. And then, if they are in a retirement home, there is still care that's needed. So really just being mindful of that and what you can delegate out, because no one wins a prize for drowning and being overwhelmed.
So what do you do if you're at odds with your siblings over the care?
If you're at odds, I guess it really depends where you are in that dynamic. Are you the caregiver?
Yeah.
Are you, and then you try and communicate with them and say, you might be mad at me. I'm so sorry, but this is what I'm capable of. And you set your boundaries and be like, how can I help? And you offer help and see, because I think I was really resentful with my brother for a long time, because all I was getting was him complaining or being like kind of hard on me or acting like I worked for him. And I was like, what is happening? I'm
Yeah.
a freaking rock star. My brother and I never fought. And we actually had this huge blow up. And it was me just being like, I just need you to thank me. I am doing so much. And the problem was, he didn't even know what I was doing, because when they're not involved, they have no clue.
Sure.
And I was like, do you know that I do this? I just need you to thank me. All you should be doing is saying thank you, because our mom is happy. She's thriving. She's healthy. I've gotten her off of medication. Like, I am kicking aging ass right now. Like, I was just like, come on.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
like, I do not work for you. You do not get to tell me these things. Like, all
Yeah.
you say to me is thank you and how can I help? Anything beyond that, I don't want to hear it from you. And it took that of my brother finally getting it. And now he's been more like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You do a lot. Thank you. And he's acknowledged and he
Yeah.
took the no. And I hated having to get to that point, but either it wasn't me communicating good enough or him just not being involved to really know what I'm doing and what I'm going through and how much weight and how much of a bandwidth and time, energy, and away from my family this is taking. I mean, when we moved her out of her home,
She
holy cow.
well, she must have been at her home, she was sleeping, what, like 18
No,
hours?
I mean her residence, like where she
Oh.
lived. That move, and my brother did like
Oh, yeah. It
1
was a big
hour
deal. It's a
more.
lifetime worth of
It
stuff in
took
the
me
house.
a month of going over there
Oh,
as much as I
yeah.
could.
Oh, yeah.
Then it took Mother's Day of us with our kids on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my brother's off with his future mother-in-law and his wife. And I'm like, oh, cool. Guess where I am? He's like, Happy Mother's Day. And I'm like, wanted to flip him off and be like, Happy Mother's Day, you and we're clearing out cabinets and stuff like that. But he just was unaware of how much work it was. And it's that whole thing. No one knows what you're going through unless you let them know.
Yeah.
And it's okay for the caregiver to be like, hey guys, siblings, just so you know, mom and dad's move or was a lot. Like it was, or I need help with this. It's a lot. It's more than I thought it would be, because I had no idea how many hours and energy and cost and all that stuff it would be. And then it was like my kind of like exclamation point, like frustration, but I was like, you get to go do this. And he did it. And I communicated and I said what he could do. But it was like, no one wins for being like,
Yeah.
because no one knows what you're doing. So
Well,
don't do
you
it.
don't wanna be the silent martyr type like that.
No,
You're only gonna generate more sort of like
no. And I just kept waiting for
frustration.
him to
Yeah.
wake up and help out. And that was not happening. And then I didn't want to be the martyr. And so I was like, hey, I need you to do this. I
Yeah.
need you to do this. And then I was like, whoa, you're not even capable of this. And then I blew up. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes it takes it to get worse before it gets better. And we worked it out. And I was now getting what I needed from him after that blow up. And I don't love becoming dark Barb,
Well, but I
but
mean,
it
I think in
helped.
the end, it's like you gotta ask for what you need. You
Yeah.
gotta communicate. You gotta give grace, and then you have to know that this is a super emotional situation for all of the parties.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to be here, but we're gonna be here, and we have to figure it
Yeah.
out. In our parents' best interest and everyone's best interest, and so
And
it's difficult. You
I
just
think my only other advice would be to keep it as insular, if that's the right word, as you can, because there's going to be partners and stuff. And you've been so great, is like keeping that that
Within
like
the family unit,
original
with the
family
sure.
dynamics, when there's any big decisions, you keep it with just those family members. And you've been awesome because you're like, I should not be involved in this. And
Yeah, I'm a supporting staff,
yeah,
you know,
which
it's
is
like
what I
yeah,
need and
yeah.
is awesome. And I'm so grateful for it.
For
But
your
I,
mom, that is, and I guess I
yeah,
am for my sister too, you know,
but I think those big decisions and conversations of whose role is what should be just the original siblings and not their significant others,
right.
because it's just more likely to get messy. So that would be my big advice. And again, and it changes too. If someone moves, if someone has to move, like it can constantly evolve. But that it's a touchy topic, but one that's needed. And whoever's listening that needs to hear this, again, you're not alone and you can get through this. It's just really listening
Yeah, if
to
you're the
this.
primary caregiver, ask for what you need,
Yeah.
right? And if you're a supporting caregiver, staff guy,
Stuff.
yeah, give grace, give thanks, appreciation, that goes a long
Yeah.
ways,
And
yeah.
please share this episode with anyone you know going through this, because no one really talks about this. And it's a huge part. And it's a lot of what I've been hearing when listen and work with people one on one on my care chats and guidance calls is the sibling challenges are big and they're real. And
Yeah.
so please share this with anyone you know, because it will be helpful. It's a lot. But you got this. And you're awesome, awesome, awesome for taking the time to listen to this. And you're awesome for helping your parents in any way. And just know that even if you don't live by your parents or your sibling that's helping out, you can do those audio texts. You can do the phone calls that, hey, I got 5 minutes, but I want to check in. I'm here to listen to the caregiver sibling. Or, hey mom, I love you. I have 5 minutes. I just want to like
Yeah.
connect with you. Here's what's been going with me. How are you? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll call and let them know when you call them next time. It's little things that can make a world of difference. So, on that note,
Yeah.
I hope you rock the rest of your day.
Boom.
If you loved hanging out with us, hit that follow button and share this episode with someone who could use a little midlife magic. Now go rock the rest of your day.